Hello, everyone. You know that feeling when Friday finally arrives? You close your laptop, take a deep breath, and think, this is it, my weekend. 2 short days that can feel like freedom or total chaos.
Yeah, sometimes you have the perfect weekend. Calm, cozy, maybe with friends or nature. And sometimes everything goes wrong. Bad weather, broken plans, or work that just doesn't end.
In today's episode, we'll talk about both our best weekends ever and the ones that turned into small disasters.
And while we share our stories, you'll learn some real English. The kind people use when talking about plans, surprises, or things that go wrong.
So make yourself comfortable and let's find out, what does a perfect weekend really look like? So every Saturday morning, I have a small ritual. I wake up slowly, no alarm, and I open the window. I love the smell of fresh air and coffee from the kitchen. Then I listen to soft music and do a little stretching. After that, I always go to the same cafe near my apartment. They know my order: a cappuccino and a croissant with jam. It's a small thing, but it feels like a reset button for my brain.
That sounds really peaceful. My weekends start in a completely different way. I have a different type of weekend ritual. I start my Saturday early, around 7 a.m. I go jogging in the park. I don't always enjoy waking up that early, but after the run, I feel amazing. Then I make pancakes, listen to a podcast, and plan something small, maybe a trip outside the city or a movie night with friends. For me, weekends are about energy and movement.
Speaking of energy and movement, my best weekend story is all about that kind of freedom. My best weekend ever was 2 years ago in Italy. It wasn't expensive or fancy, just simple and spontaneous. I was visiting my friend near Lake Garda. On Saturday morning, we decided to rent bikes and explore small towns around the lake. The weather was perfect. Sunny, not too hot. We stopped in a little village where they had a local food festival. We tried homemade pasta, local wine, and some strange dessert that looked like a cake, but tasted like lemon and almonds. Later in the evening, there was live music near the water. People were dancing, kids were running around, and everyone seemed happy. We sat on the grass watching the sunset. I remember thinking, this is what life should feel like: simple and full of small moments. On Sunday morning, we didn't rush anywhere. We had breakfast outside, just bread, butter, and espresso. No phone, no stress, no plan. That weekend felt like a long breath. Every time I think about it, I smile.
That sounds amazing. And it reminds me of my own best weekend, but in a completely different setting. My best weekend story is from last summer. I went camping with two friends in the mountains. The place was quiet, almost empty. We set up our tents near a small river and cooked dinner on a fire. Just pasta and tomato sauce, but it tasted amazing because we made it ourselves. The night sky was so clear that we could see thousands of stars. I remember lying in the grass listening to the water and thinking, I don't need anything else right now. The next morning, we hiked to the top of a hill and saw the sunrise. It was cold but beautiful. The whole weekend was simple: no internet, no schedule, no noise. Just nature, friendship, and silence. For me, that's the perfect combination.
Okay, so that was the good part. Now let's talk about the weekends that didn't go as planned. My worst weekend. That's easy. It was last winter. I planned a self-care weekend. Relaxing at home, movies, candles, face masks, hot chocolate, everything perfect. But then on Saturday morning, I woke up with no electricity. The power was out because of a snowstorm, no heating, no internet, no lights. I thought, okay, no problem, I'll just read a book. But after 1 hour, my phone battery died and it was getting really cold. Then I tried to cook something. But of course, the stove didn't work. I ended up eating cold cereal in a blanket, reading by candlelight like it was the 18th century. And then, when the power finally came back on Sunday evening, my neighbor knocked on the door and said, "Hey, we're having a party. Want to come?" I just laughed. My relaxing weekend was over.
That's rough. My story isn't much better, maybe even worse. A few years ago, I had what I thought would be an amazing road trip. The plan was simple: drive to the seaside, meet some friends, spend 2 days at the beach. Everything went wrong. First, my car broke down halfway, in the middle of nowhere. I waited 3 hours for a mechanic, and by the time I got back on the road, it was dark. Then it started raining heavily. When I finally arrived, my friends had already gone out, and the hotel had lost my reservation. I spent the night in the car trying to sleep. The next morning, I just drove home. The funny thing is, now it's a great story, but at that time, it felt like the universe was testing my patience.
It's funny how the perfect weekend doesn't really depend on big plans or money. It's about feeling calm, free, and connected, either to yourself or to other people.
Yes, and sometimes the worst weekends become the best stories later. They make you laugh, they teach you to let go, and they remind you that not everything has to be perfect.
Exactly. So maybe the secret to a perfect weekend is simple: don't try too hard. Just do what makes you feel good.
And if things go wrong, well, at least you'll have something funny to tell next time. Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and that you learned some new English expressions along the way. If you did, share your own best or worst weekend story in the comments. See you next time.